And it's so important to acknowledge that mental health is so important and it can literally affect everything, and it's just so important. I never even kind of thought about how important it was until this time. I'm just driving and I'm just struggling a little bit at the minute. That's all I really wanted to tell you, just if you, in case I miss anything. I'm fine. Like I'm not, well, I'm fine in a sense that like I'm safe and I'm moving forward. I hope this made sense all to you guys. I'm okay. I'm alive. And we end up missing out on the amazing things that we already have about us. I'm not a dog. I don't have the courage, I don't have the fight. Hey guys, so really exciting announcement for you all. Today is the day that my Shop Dixie, the Fern Goddess new jewellery collection comes out. Yeah, just do like... Rascals.
Little rascals.
Yeah, it's like, look at you, little shit. Hey guys!
I'm returning up at the family party.
Showcasing my new hair. I love carbs. I'm Jennifer Lawrence. Down to a lot of people. I feel like I haven't been a very good friend. I feel like I haven't been a very good person. I feel like I haven't been a very good YouTuber.
Just give me your body and I'll give you mine. Just give me your love and I'll give you.
At least I'm not just stuck in my bedroom at home crying, so yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Harmony Nice and today I'm going to be talking to you about something that happened a year ago now, which is kind of insane. I kind of have been feeling the need to do this video for quite a long time now, just because of the pure fact that it was such like a monumental part of my life and such a kind of big break with my channel that I've probably ever had, and so much has happened since then that I feel like kind of compelled to update you guys on what happened a year ago and what is happening now. So if you guys have been on my channel for a while, I had a super tough time last year. I really struggled with mental health issues and I had a mental breakdown. I'm not really going to go into depth about the mental breakdown. I did in that video a while back, and everything that you kind of need to know about it is in that video. So if you'd like to go watch that video, I have that and a bunch of other mental health videos on my channel that you guys may be interested in. Just a quick little briefing. I have struggled with mental health issues my whole entire life. From the ages of 13 to 17, I had severe depression diagnosed. And from the ages of like 17 to last year, I had been probably the happiest that I've ever been. super happy, well-rounded person who didn't really struggle with mental health issues like I had done in the past anymore. But I moved out the end of, not last year, but the year before that, because I think moving out was such a big deal to me. Lots of problems kind of came to the surface, which I think I wasn't really looking into until I realised how bad it had gotten. And I basically had a mental breakdown and lost absolutely everything. It's probably one of the lowest points in my life because I have never really struggled with wanting to be happy and not being able to be happy. I have always been somebody that, I think with my teenage depression, I said in my video before, like I needed to be sad, so I was, whereas this depression was kind of like completely different to that because I wanted to be happy and just couldn't be happy. It was awful and I cried every day for like a month and didn't eat properly for like a month. Things just got super bad until I decided to move back home last year, which is when I made the Let's Talk My Mental Health video. I was going to film this video outside and kind of be like, oh, look at me a year later in the same spot. But it's fucking gloomy outside today and I'm kind of quite enjoying this little zen area I've got going in my room at the minute. At this time in my life, I was genuinely like, I can't do this anymore. Like in my head, I was like, I don't think I've got any fight left in me. That is like a recurring thought that happens throughout my life quite a lot and I always end up having more fight in me somehow. But here I am, a year later, kind of through it after thinking I wasn't going to. So this last year has been like a wild ride of recovery, self-discovery, learning about self-love and more about myself than I ever really have. I've had the highest of the highs and I've literally had the lowest of the lows. I don't want people watching this video to think that I am completely sorted and that I am like okay, ready to go back to kind of where I was a couple of years ago, because I still struggle and I don't want to go back to how I was a couple of years ago. I want to move forward. I think it's kind of hard to admit that you're still struggling in like a recovery video, because in this video I wanted to get on here and when I had this plan on my head like 9 months ago, I'm gonna be like, I am so happy, everything is sorted, but actually the reality of it, you just kind of work through it and you just kind of keep going. Something that I've really experienced over this last year is a huge lack of understanding for how mental illness works. Lots of people love to hate on people that are going through shit. And that sounds really like silly, like how can you say that, because I know so many of you guys are like, we love you Harmony, like we're getting on with blah blah blah, lovely people, mwah, beautiful, mwah. There's also been like a wave of hardship that has also come from the side of some of you guys, or some of you guys that are no longer here, or family, friends who don't understand the struggle of what is happening in my life or what has happened with mental illness and why it can't just get better. And people forget that having depression and having disassociation is really sad, it's really hard, and getting through it is not something that's just gonna happen and once I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a bit better now, there's still gonna be tough times. There's still gonna be times where I can't get out of bed because I feel so waved out of it that I just don't want to experience the world that day. In so many ways, things have gotten so much better and I have learned so much and I really feel like I'm becoming me again, which sounds silly, but like I feel like I lost my way for quite a while because of everything that has happened. So in today's video, obviously you just saw the start of it, I kind of wanted to talk about 10 things that I have learned since I had a mental breakdown. I wanted selfishly to kind of document the fact that I have made progress with my mental health. Not only that, I also know that back in the time when I was having that really tough period, having a video where somebody was going through the same thing and then a year later is completely different and life has changed and so many wonderful things have happened in that year that I would have loved to see something like that. And I want you guys, like all my mental health videos, to get something out what I've learned and what I've experienced and realise that even when you hit like your lowest point, sounds so fucking cheesy, so unsubscribe, that there is there is an up, and kind of realizing that there is beauty to things even when it's like feels like it's like fucking impossible to think about that. I would recommend getting a cup of tea or something to eat for this video because oh my god, we know Harmony's videos love to be long anyway, so this one is going to be extra long. I'm putting off making this video for such a long time because it's really hard to talk about what happened last year a lot of the time, because I felt like even though I don't really feel like that now, I think for a long time I felt like I had let you guys down, I felt like I had let myself down. So without further ado, 10 things that I have learnt, or the 10 most important things that I've learnt since my mental breakdown. Number 1, if you have a bad experience with therapy, try again. Now this is probably one of the most important parts of this whole entire list that I've got for you, because this is something that has genuinely helped me so much. Like, I would honestly go as far as saying that therapy has changed my life. So a couple of years ago, I think I started going to therapy at like late 16 time. And I went for like 6 months. I went to this therapist that I just really didn't get on with. Firstly, I felt very, very judged. Maybe subconsciously or consciously, she saw me as like a silly little girl, kind of really didn't have any problems. But also something that I kind of tend to do just as a person in general is when I first meet people, I have this very charming persona that I put on where I'm like, I need to get this person to like me. Instantly act like, oh, everything's fine, I'm so happy, I'm so funny. I think probably from a lot of perspective it was all wrong. I think she thought that I was okay, and actually she was kind of like, at the end of our therapy sessions, was like, well, I think you're better. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm better too. And I was literally like still just as shit as I had been at the start, but with a few more tips on how to handle anxiety. And it put me off therapy for such a long time. And I was genuinely just convinced that therapy just didn't work for me. I was like, it's just not gonna happen. For another example, I would kind of say to her like, oh, I'm really worried, like I'm not really sleeping a lot recently and I think it's bothering me. And she would be like, well, how many hours of sleep are you getting? And I'd be like, 7. And she'd be like, that's enough sleep. And I'd be like, okay, when actually there's usually a reason why people don't feel like they're getting enough sleep. A good therapist will break through that and get to the core of why you feel like you need to see a therapist. So my current therapist, I first went to literally 2 weeks after I had moved home. Like I said, I was completely desperate. My mum really thought I should go back to therapy. Again, we just thought it was the right path to go through, feeling awful. First question she asked me was, tell me about yourself, and then she asked me what I wanted to get out of therapy. And I said, to be happy again. She said that it kind of doesn't matter whether that you're like a charming young lady with like a great life and a great job and blah blah blah, all of that. There is a reason why she has chosen to come to therapy, and she has just told me that she is not happy. We need to break through that and we need to work out why she's feeling this way. And she helped me and is still currently helping me with parts of my life that, firstly, the subconscious ones that I kind of already knew about, but I just kind of needed to talk to people about and work them out myself. And then also help me with the parts of my problems that I didn't really realise that I'd had, and help me work through them in order to live a better and more positive life. And a year into therapy, I'm still learning things about myself and still learning how to manage and deal with things differently to how I used to. We've been going there for a whole year, like I'm still gonna continue going, I feel like, for the rest of my life, like genuinely. Also, going to a therapist was the first step to getting my mental illness diagnosed, because when you have like a therapist's kind of point of perspective over things, it's easier to go to a doctor and say, well, I have a therapist and she thinks this, and they listen more, basically. You may try a therapist that will not be right for you. You may try 5 therapists that may not be right for you, but trust me when I say, when you find the right therapist, it is absolutely life-changing. Whether you get one on the NHS, because you can apply for some there, whether you get one privately like I do, or whether you get one with like a school or something like that, there is a right therapist out there for absolutely everybody. I genuinely think everybody should go to therapy, like mental breakdown or not. Definitely. Even though I'm not down anymore, she continuously helps me. It always helps. Like, I never leave a therapy session feeling worse than I did when I walked into one. And therapy in general can also have like a knock-on effect to so many. Also, something that I've actually learned about therapy that I thought I would just add is admitting it is so important. Normalizing therapy is so important. And I'm telling you now, you're scared of going to therapy. It is normal. It's completely normal, and it's actually a good thing. You're trying to better yourself. I used to, at the start, when I was like going on dates with boys and like things like, I'd be like, oh, I've got an appointment tomorrow, like, sorry, I can't see you. And they'd be like, oh, what appointment? I'd be like, oh, just a doctor's appointment. Whereas I got used to saying to people that I'm going to therapy tomorrow. Try admitting it more. Just trust me on that one. Just try it. Even though somebody makes you feel good sometimes, doesn't mean that they're actually good for you. Bracket, recognizing toxic relationships. Close bracket. So this is something that I find extremely hard, and unfortunately is something that kind of sometimes is still ongoing for me. Just because of the type of person I am, I'm somebody that is extremely trusting and kind of likes to see the best in everybody. So something that I did this year, which made me extremely proud, a little personal achievement of mine. Don't laugh. And I know it may come natural to lots of people, but it didn't come naturally to me. I was seeing somebody that was basically gaslighting me, and despite really liking them, went against my initial kind of like heart feeling and trusted my gut, and I ended things with this toxic person. In the past, I feel like I would have never ended something with somebody just because I felt like they were like, that I really liked, basically. Even though they weren't good for me, I'd have probably just kept it going and sat through the pain, whereas I realised that I didn't want to do that anymore. And I ended things, and I'm very proud of myself. God bless America. I got to a point where after leaving them one day, I was like, I feel awful. And I kind of sat and reflected, and I was like, I have felt awful every single time I have left this person for the last 3 months. I thought to myself, was it worth it? Is everything that you're feeling and going through and the mental strain that this person is putting on for you worth the fun times that you have? No matter how good somebody makes you feel, maybe once in a while, if they make you feel more shit than they do good, and they like leave you feeling like... This also accounts to friends. Sometimes we have friends that we naturally kind of rely on, and we naturally kind of go back to in dark spots. We also go to toxic people when we are producing toxic behaviour ourselves. So always look at who you run to first when you're in a toxic situation. I don't mean for advice, I don't mean for help. I mean who you attract and who you want to be around, and whether it encourages the toxic behaviour or not. So try to think long term whether the people that you are surrounding yourself with encourage positive behaviour or encourage toxic behaviour, whether it may be toxic behaviour to yourself or toxic behaviour to others or in general. And it has led to me actually cutting off quite a few friends and obviously things, and like dating people and things like that, because of that toxic behaviour. You kind of have to listen to what your heart wants as well, but also what your gut is telling you. Do you want to keep feeling this way? Do you suffer with anxiety because of this person and this person's actions? Do these people make you feel what you're feeling is less valid? When you leave somebody's presence, do you feel good, or do you feel empty and hollow and sad? At the end of the day, cutting off toxic people is so beneficial. They have lost somebody that cares about them, whereas you have just lost somebody that doesn't care about you. Being soft isn't a bad thing. So this is something that I've always kind of struggled with, because I'm an extremely soft and sensitive person. My natural kind of state is being overly soft and overly sensitive. And I think there's been a lot of stigma around this, about kind of being like a bad bitch. As you can tell, I'm definitely one of those. And kind of being like, you've got to be tough in this world because, you know, the world is shit and you've got to put up a wall and protect yourself, and being soft and being weak is seen as a bad thing, when actually it's not. Being a soft and kind and lovely person is something that needs to be appreciated. Wanting to love and wanting to be kind and being openly emotional about the way that you feel, wanting to make people feel good, and wanting to be in love and being caring and being overexcited about everything or overexcited about people, and anyone that makes you feel like it's not right is the one in the wrong. And the right people will not take advantage of your softness and your kindness. But it's also important, even if you're a soft person, to acknowledge when people are taking advantage of that and fix it and sort it out and realise that what they are doing is not okay. And most importantly, being soft to yourself is just as important as being soft to others. Recognising when you need to say no to things to avoid hurt to yourself and others, even though your heart may be like, I really want to do this for this person because I really care about them. Listening to your gut and listening to what the right thing to do for you and for others in this situation may be. The world at times, especially for me over the last year, the world can seem like a very, very cruel and unkind place. A couple of times, even for me, I've kind of put a wall up because I've been like, fuck you, I'm not standing for this. I'm not going to be openly emotional because you're just going to take me and like do this to me and spit me on the floor. And sometimes it's so easy to be angry at things and so easy to fight fire with fire. It's not always easy to be kind, and I'm not saying that it is, because I know at times it's definitely not. I think a lot of the time on my channel I've been like, well, just be kind, you know, if it harms none, do what you will. I'm very aware it's not as simple as that. Sometimes you have to take a step back and genuinely think what the kindest thing to do in the situation would be. For example, when you get upset, I think a lot of the time we kind of look to place blame on things to make things easier to cope with. I think it's also very, very important when you are upset to acknowledge the way that you are feeling and recognise whether you are upset for a reason that has something to do with somebody else, or whether you are upset because of something like a feeling or a past feeling, or something that doesn't involve somebody but you are wanting to place the blame on somebody. And it may want to be handled in a different way to the you initially thought. When you find yourself in a situation where somebody is treating you badly or you are treating somebody badly, just take a step back for a second and breathe it out and think about the true situation. You're allowed to be angry about stuff and you're allowed to feel emotions as much as you can. It's very, very important that you do. But it's how you handle the situation that is the important part. It's okay to be tough in your life when it's needed. And it's okay to make decisions that could potentially hurt other people's feelings if something is constantly hurting you. Obviously there's limits to everything like this, but as long as you're making a conscious decision to benefit your life or benefit the lives of other people around you, or you're actively trying to be a better person or just move forward with things, you can't really go wrong. So keep being soft, keep loving openly, being understanding and being overly impressed about every little thing that you see. Don't let other people's hardness change that, and don't let anybody tell you that you're weak, or people that are scared of your softness and your kindness, or people that are scared of love in general, and let them feel that you need to feel the same way. Healthy boundaries in relationships and friendships is a positive thing. So as somebody who fears rejection quite a lot, I have had my unhealthy share of feeling unwanted and giving more than I take. And I have definitely struggled with creating healthy boundaries within friendships and relationships in the past a time. But it's something super, super important to be said about creating healthy boundaries in relationships. If you are with somebody that you trust and that you love and that you want to have a future with, and you are confident enough in yourself to carry a relationship and know that you'll be okay despite what happens within a relationship, and you hold your self-value very, very highly, and if you don't, you need to kind of evaluate how you can get through things like that, especially if you have problems with creating boundaries in relationships. But there is nothing wrong with creating healthy boundaries within friendships and relationships. Whether it's your significant other needing a boundary in a relationship or yourself needing a boundary in a relationship. It's also okay to, when you feel like you need to create a boundary, to bring it up with your partner. Maturity in relationship is so, so important, and that's something that I've never really experienced before up until this year. For an example, maybe in a relationship you see each other all the time and things are getting quite a lot. You don't really have time to do your own thing, but you have like a need to kind of do your own thing or like see your friends and things like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying to your partner, today I'm going to go see my friends or go do my own thing, or I need a few days to do my own thing just because of the pure fact it will benefit my mental health. It's important to recognise that you're with somebody that you truly love and that you trust, that people are not trying to hurt you by creating boundaries. They're simply just trying to continue that relationship with you. They're simply just trying to improve on that relationship with you so they can continue to be happy within a relationship with you or within a friendship with you. They're not pushing you away if they are doing something that they think will benefit you both. Or if you're arguing all the time and maybe they'd like to create a boundary with something that you keep arguing about. It's so, so important within a relationship to communicate with your partner and listen to their needs, listen to the changes within the relationships and discuss them and see if there are boundaries and things that you can do with this relationship in order to improve it. Very, very important as well that your other partner does not get upset when you do create these boundaries, and if they are upset, explain to them why it's important to create this boundary and explain to them that it's nothing to do with them, but you've recognised that there may be like a bit of tension within the thing and within whatever's going on, and that you just need to create a boundary for it because you want to continue that relationship or you want to continue that friendship. But it's also very, very important to recognise if you are the one creating boundaries or if your partner is creating boundaries, that these boundaries are not a punishment. It's so, so important to recognise the difference between creating a healthy boundary and creating a boundary to punish them. For an example, healthy boundary would be, I actually am going to start doing floristry classes on a Wednesday, so I won't be able to see you on Wednesdays anymore, but we can see each other a different day, or I just need some personal space or some personal time on this day. It's a healthy thing to do. It's a healthy thing to have a separate life other than just with your partner. An unhealthy boundary would be, you've upset me, so I'm going to ignore you, or I'm going to call you names, or you're not allowed to touch me or speak to me while we're together, not communicate with you about why I'm upset, but I'm just gonna let you work out why I'm upset and then just have a huge go at you when you don't work out why I'm upset. Or you upset me, therefore I'm going to go and get with another person or like a bunch of girls' pictures because you hurt me and I want to punish you for it. That is not healthy. This also does come with time, and it also comes with experience with relationships. This does share a level of understanding you can work on with a partner, so don't like panic and think, fuck, my relationship is so doomed because we can't do this yet. It's also very, very important to respect that your partner has a separate life to you. It's very, very healthy to have completely different interests and spend time apart together, even if you live together, and be okay with the fact that your partner may want to spend time with their friends or spend time with other people or want to do their own thing. I think it's kind of quite easy to get brainwashed into the fact that all as humans we can do is just be in love and be in a relationship, whereas that's not true. Women and men are both capable of incredible things. They're capable of using their heads and their hearts. Relationships are supposed to make you happy and they're supposed to make you feel good about yourself. Your partner is a part of your life that's like the cherry on top of the sundae. You are the sundae, all your elements of your life, like all the sprinkles and all the good shit, and then your partner and your relationship is that cherry on top. It's not your main event. You are your main event. Number 5. You can't control everything. Obviously, this sounds extremely self-explanatory. This phrase in general is something that got me through such a hard time that I had to mention it. So this is gonna sound super, super weird, so feel free if you feel this way as well to back me up on this, because I know, I'm hoping, anyway, I can't be the only one that feels like this. I don't know whether it's because I do witchcraft and I, in general, kind of look at the world a bit of a different way, and I believe things can fall into place. I'm not so one of these people that think everything happens for a reason, but I am somebody that thinks you can influence change within your life. Besides, the point of this thing, Wicca and witchcraft, isn't about controlling everything within your life. It's about using it to make positive influences and positive changes within your life, and using it to help you and attract things to you. It can come in very, very strange ways. It's not about control or power. That doesn't mean you can instantly control everything and just make everything as you wish. But I sometimes think, maybe if I did this, it would change this. Or maybe if I looked a different way, then this person would like me. Or if someone didn't text me back for ages after me sending them like a really nice heartfelt text or something like that, I would think to myself that I had done something wrong. And I would overthink what I'd text a billion times over and be like, oh my god, like I said this wrong, I've done this wrong, they think I'm cringy, they think I'm this, something that. But sometimes in life, there are just things that you cannot control. I was actually going to my therapist and having her explain to me that the only thing that I have control over is what I do and how I do things. I do not have control over anybody else's feelings, how anyone else feels about me, how anyone else is going to react to something. You can't force people to love you. The right people won't leave you feeling confused and lonely. Quite often we just assume that we know how things are going to go. We just kind of naturally as people assume the worst in order to kind of just gain control and just start like a grieving process already. Consciously you think you know how people are feeling, but 90% of the time you have no idea how people are feeling. Think about how you feel about things. Think about whether something somebody said to you, how that made you feel. Probably not the same as how you think other people would react to, so why would it be the same for them? Most of the time you have no idea, and your brain and your anxiety and your insecurities and through past problems and things like that will automatically lie to you and make you feel like you know the outcome of something when in reality you definitely don't. I cannot tell you the days and the nights I've sat up worrying about things, whereas the outcome would have been the same whether I sat up worrying about things or not. Most of the time instantly think that absolutely everybody is going to be a critic of you and the outcome is going to be the worst possible thing. But the focus shouldn't be on what everybody else is thinking. The focus should be on what you are learning and what you are doing. People's opinions are just opinions. They are not facts. However much you love somebody, if there's no respect, there's no point. Relationships and friendships and family and all type of things. I think a lot of this list is kind of about love and relationships and friendships, so I apologise, but like I said, I think a lot of these things also have knock-on effects to other parts of your life. Also, it has helped me gain a lot of self-respect for myself and a lot of confidence in myself. So I know it may kind of seem like that is what I've learned a lot of, but it is what I've learned a lot of. So I think upon many occasions throughout my whole entire life, I've undervalued myself in order to keep other people happy. I think I naturally undervalue myself when people attack me, because I kind of feel it easier to just do that instead of sticking up for myself and saying that things are wrong, and that kind of leads me down a bad path of where people think that they can just push me around and do that, and most of the time, you know what, sometimes they're right. But one thing that I've learned, that no matter what, whether it be in a relationship or a friendship or whatever, if somebody takes a bunch of liberties from you and never gives anything back, if somebody tries to manipulate you or control you or gaslight you, or somebody undermines you constantly or deceives you or leads you into false senses of security in order to gain control or power from themselves, you are not with somebody that values themselves or you, unfortunately. I think one of the strongest things that I ever did with my life was accept that I have pretty much no control over anything. So there's no point trying to gain control over somebody's thoughts and feelings in order to get what you want, because the outcome is necessarily usually the same. It creates hurt, and it creates hurt for yourself and creates hurt for other people. Don't try to play a game with people like this and pretend that you care less or that you aren't hurt by things that they do, or undermine yourself when people try to undermine you, because it doesn't work. It's always the same story. It's always going to be shit. Mutual respect is so important within a relationship, because if you keep growing as a person, there's gonna be a point where you're unhappy and that you will leave this other person that keeps undermining you and making you unhappy, because it's just not worth it. So long term, trying to be the person that gets that power, you're going to lose. I feel like there can be a lot of boxes it ticks with different relationships and people within your life. You could be insanely attracted to somebody, or have so much fun with somebody, and somebody can make you laugh so much, or somebody could be, I mean, a family member that undermines you, where you feel like you can't really leave that relationship or friendship. It took me a very large loss this year to realise that I can't keep undermining myself for other people. I am a good person and I should celebrate my success, and I should help other people in order to gain success too. Also appreciate other people's success too, and help like hype people up as well as helping myself as well. Never undermine yourself, especially when it comes to relationships or men or women. You are not there to make somebody feel like a man or make somebody feel like a woman. That is not your job. The person that you undermine will get bored of you and will leave you, and even if you are somebody that manipulates people for years and years on end, there is always going to be a point. And if there isn't a point, then you will never change and you will never grow, and you will also never be happy. It's also important to recognise that other people have feelings and other people have thoughts and other people have different goals and opinions to you, and it's important not to undermine these opinions just because you disagree with them, exception of some opinions. Also, you have to have respect for yourself, and when it comes to relationships and friendships, you have to recognise what you deserve within this interaction. You are not somebody's sometimes. You are not there to be picked and dropped. You deserve to have your feelings feelings and emotions hurt, and 90% of the time if somebody dismisses these feelings and emotions, it's because they're scared too. 7. Loss is sometimes okay, or even sometimes good. I think my whole entire life I have been one of those people that is absolutely terrified of loss, mainly from the point of perspective that I have had a lot of loss in my life that has not been positive, and I associate loss with kind of bad times in my life, or death, or things that have happened to me where a loss has automatically left me feeling awful. But one thing that I've realised that has really, really helped my journey and personal growth more than anything is accepting that loss is okay and actually letting go of things. Over the past year, I've actually chosen to lose a lot of things, which is something that I have never really done before in my life. I've always been somebody that kind of holds on to the past and holds on to people, holds on to relationships, and will end up kind of suffering through that and then giving it up after suffering through it. Whereas I have really, really made a conscious effort to choose to lose things. And at the start, it was absolutely terrifying, but after my mental breakdown, I lost absolutely everything. I kind of had to lose everything in order for things to get better again. I chose to take a break from my job, which risks me losing all of this, which thank fucking God I didn't. I chose to end and lose a stale relationship that I was in, even though I was comfortable and I loved this person, because I knew it wasn't making me happy anymore. I chose to lose friends that I'd been friends with for years because I never felt good around them anymore. I also told somebody that I valued very, very much in my life how much they'd hurt me last year because I needed to for my personal growth, which made me lose a part of my life that I've been holding on to since I was 19. We associate loss as a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing most of the time. I genuinely feel like you need to lose things in life in order to make room for new things. You're never going to be in a new happy relationship if you're holding on to a past stale one. You are never going to get the job of your dreams if you are sitting doing the same job as you did and not working towards getting another job. Letting go is genuinely one of the best things that I've ever done, and realising that some people just aren't coming back and you don't need them to, or letting go of just anger or stress from a situation that has happened to you and genuinely just moving on with it. Loss can come in many forms, but a lot of the time it ends up with us being stronger or learning something in order for us to better our memories and our happiness in our life. Personal loss, like death, can be extremely hard to understand. You're not in a relationship because there's an end goal. There is no end goal. We're all going to die. You're with somebody because you want to create memories, and life is about moments and happiness that you create, about the people that we have in our lives and what we share with it. You may lose people, but it is the beauty and the brilliance of life that keeps you going. It's about the time that you have with them that's important. The fact and the reality is, it's not about that. It's about what you share together that is the most important thing. It's not about the end goal. It's about what you're experiencing now and whether you're enjoying what you experience now. You can appreciate the time that you shared together and let go. And it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to grieve. You have to do things in order to make the acceptance of loss easier, like for example of me talking to this person that was very, very important to me. Life after loss is still fine. We all learn from things from it, and that is kind of all there is to it. It can be a blessing most of the times without really even seeing it. Number 8, don't put all your value in your appearance. This is something that I have spoken about in my confidence videos and also my mental health videos, which again I will link down below for you guys to watch. But over the last year I have kind of gained this weird respect and love for myself and my body and my appearance, and kind of just not caring as much as I used to about it. That has just given me this tranquility with who I am on the outside, because I actually stopped holding it to the highest standard like I used to. I think it was probably after meeting quite a few people that all kind of shared the same opinion of me as me. No matter how pretty somebody is, the substance that they have is the thing that makes you stay. Certain charm of the way that people look will always become boring after a while. Personality and your passion is what makes you inspiring and a person. They are what make you happy with yourself, not how you look. Think about the people that you have dated, or think about the people that you have admired. No matter how pretty they are, or how attractive they are, or how immediately you are attracted to the sight of this person that you may be, if there is no substance and there is no passion and there is no personality there, the instant attraction disappears. The ultimate feeling of how you feel about a person is always drawn from what they do and how they leave their mark. Looks fade and you are going to change whether you worry about it or not. It's important to accept the changes of the outer shell and focus on what is happening on the inner shell. How it's more important to have fun with your identity and what you do with your appearance, and whether it genuinely makes you happy and it's who you want to be, or whether you're doing it because you feel like you need gratification from something or somebody. For example, I've always been kind of inspired by vintage fashion, but it's taken me this long to kind of actually start to look into it a little bit more because I've kind of always been worried about what you guys think. Same with that problem that I had when I just refused to take my hair extensions out and I had just like the long ginger hair for ages. I just thought that people wouldn't like it when I changed, and I kind of refused to change. And when it got to the point where like my personality was pushing so hard and was like, you've got to change because if not you're just gonna explode, and that is when I did that. The people that truly love with me have stuck with me through my mullets and through my green fucking fringe. After looks fade, you are literally only left what you have done and what you have on the inside, so you probably should start working on it now. And don't get me wrong, it's so hard to get to that point and just suddenly, and I haven't worked out how it happened for me, other than probably I think when I started to focus on who I actually was as a person, what I enjoyed doing, and the people that loved me, and realizing that actually it doesn't matter whether you have a fringe or not, it doesn't matter whether you dye your hair or not, it doesn't matter with how you actually look or not. People that love you are going to love you anyway, and the people that don't are not. Have fun with who you are and what you wear and what you like, and if it's a passion of yours, you know, you can use it to your full advantage, but don't make it the main thing about you. I haven't doubted my appearance for about 7 months now. I've gained and I've lost weight, I've changed my hair, I've changed my style. I just don't really hold it as precious as I used to. I don't really feel like I need to have like a, like this needs to be me and that's just it. Because I like to experiment with myself, and it kind of comes through my hobbies. Developing your passions and hobbies gives you stability and reinforces your self-value. Now this kind of ties into the last one, but genuinely since I've started to develop my passions and my hobbies and other layers within my life that kind of make me, other than just the way that I look, or other than just kind of the basic what you've been given, genuinely has improved my life so much. It gave me self-value because I kind of thought that no matter what I had lost or what I was going to lose, or no matter what I lose in life, I will always have this. I will always have this passion for something, this hobby. I got sad when I felt like I was distant from my Wicca journey for a while, because it's something that identifies me and it's something that I enjoy and that I've made and that is a part of my identity. Doing that has helped me so much. Also, training to do this new thing, which I'm not going to tell you guys yet about, but training to do this new thing that I've been wanting to do for so long as a job has been something that has made me feel so much more like confident about myself, because I'm like, wow, I can do something. And I get so much out of it. I get so much love and enjoyment and so much sense of fulfillment because of these things. And that I think has a knock-on effect with how you feel about everything in your life. So the combination of that and Wicca, and also saving up slowly for driving lessons and to buy a cello, has really been keeping me happy and going, because I feel like I'm always developing layers of myself and my life that I hadn't before. My mum has always said to me that if you have people to love, hobbies to do or something to do, and things to look forward to, you will always be happy. It's not always true when it comes to like mental health and things like that, but you get what I'm saying. I never knew how much enjoyment just doing something that I love doing would give me, which sounds really silly, but it's made me love everything else more. It's like when you're doing it, nothing you could ever worry about is important. So if there's something that you've wanted to do, now is the time. There is literally not a better time other than now. Research it and do it. Don't make it about anything else. Don't make it about how it makes you look. Don't make it about anything else. Just do it because you enjoy it. Forget everything else. What is something that you've wanted to do? Pick 3 or 2 things that you want to do and either save up for them or work towards doing them or do them. So number 10. Don't lose trust. Somebody actually said to me earlier this year that I need to start putting barriers up because I'm too trusting, and that it's a bad thing to be too trusting. You're instantly kind of allowing yourself to be hurt. And I've had a lot of kind of bad toxic influence in my life since I had my mental breakdown. That's all kind of pointed to me being less sensitive, putting barriers up, being less emotional, as it will save me hurt. Treating like it is a good thing. But I will never be like that. I refuse to believe that everybody is going to hurt me, and I refuse to ever stop loving, no matter how much I get hurt. But I also refuse to allow people to continuously hurt me. Because of my trust and sensitivity. Realise that it is a strength and that it should be valued to be trusting and loving. You have to have a little trust in yourself, you have to have a little trust in your actions and what you do and what you put out into the universe and what you're doing at all times. Trust your actions and own them and feel everything you can. And let people love you. You may have had letdowns for so long, but it's time to move on and find things or people that will not let you down, because there is people that will not let you down. You also have to trust things in this life that will not let you down too. You may have had really bad luck with jobs and creativity and things like that. Trust me, there will be a point where you are no longer let down. You just have to trust it. And if something keeps letting you down, you need to think about what it's doing to you and whether you should remove it or not. Take a look around you and ask yourself what you trust and what you don't trust, whether it be people, situations, things, etc. And take a look at if you do not trust them, whether it is a situation where it's because of past trust issues that you've got. So maybe you just don't trust, I don't know, your girlfriend because you've been cheated on quite a lot, or whether it's something that is legitimate that you don't trust them about. Maybe you just don't trust them because you've been cheated on quite a lot, but actually that person has not done anything wrong. Or you kind of self-destruct with your creativity because you constantly feel like you're always going to be rubbish at something, where in reality you're just self-destructing yourself because of past experience. If it's a legitimate reason to not trust somebody or something, get it out, reevaluate. If it's just an insecurity, it's time to move on. Most important thing as well is to keep fighting, especially if it's something that you want. And stop worrying about whether you trust something or not, and just trust something if it's given you no reason not to. You can't control whether something is going to hurt, or something is going to hurt you, or something is going to go wrong, because if it's going to do it anyway, with whether you worry about it or not. Something that I found really helpful is every time that I think or doubt something that has no reason to doubt because it's just my anxiety, is to think instead, what if everything works out? What if everything that I'm doing right now ends up being brilliant? But most importantly, before I end this video, you may have a day where you have a sleepless night because you're worrying about something, or you go back to somebody toxic. You have an awful day worrying about the way that you look and your self-esteem is down the gutter, and you feel like you shouldn't be because you're acknowledging these feelings and you're like, fuck's sake, why am I feeling this way, and blah 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 blah. But the most important thing to do is just don't punish yourself for feeling this way and move on with it. If you fuck up, own your fuck up, make things right, and then move on. Forgive yourself. You're human and it's hard sometimes, and it's so easy to make mistakes. It's so easy to be angry and things like that, but it's how you handle that that is important. Fucking up is good, because it helps us learn and it makes an interesting story, and you're going to better yourself for it. So, yes, this is the longest video in the whole entire world, and if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I hope it is helpful, and I hope it's kind of given you some inspiration. If you are going through a tough time, to realise where it could be, where you could be. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video, which hopefully should be an Enchanted Endeavours episode. Yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye. Bye.